Hello there. We are live. It's Lolo and Brittany for Get It Right, Get It Tight, y'all. We're so excited to be able to have this opportunity to speak with you guys. And, um, we right now are on Clubhouse. Clubhouse it can be great. I feel like it's going to be great. It's just not great for us right now.
Right.
We literally have no one on, which is fine. That doesn't really discourage me. What concerns me is that it's not as easy to get people in. I tried to invite some people and send them links and things like that, and it does not seem to be the easiest for them to do. So,
Yeah.
if you are on, please make yourself known. We're just now getting started. We've had a couple of little minor technical difficulties, so we're definitely behind schedule, but that's fine. We're still going to honor the fact that we will end about 7 o'clock. And so just to kind of get us kicked off, can you hear me?
Maybe like a few minutes later, just today.
Just today?
Yeah, this topic is big for you, and I want us to really flesh it out.
Yeah.
A bit.
Right.
I don't want to get like real deep up in there, and then we gotta. Oh well. Sorry, that's my voice going off again.
All good. But what we're going to be getting into today, guys, is a topic that is near and dear to my heart, in addition to gut health, which is glucose and how that relates to fat loss or fat storage. I'll talk about that here shortly, but what I'd like to do is start off, because that can get a little wordy and lengthy. And I want to respect the fact that Brittany brings her knowledge, 10 years of knowledge and experience in the fitness realm. And one thing that I know that women especially struggle with is figuring out how to program. So if you don't know, maybe you're a regular gym goer and you really don't know how to figure out, what should I be doing? What should I be looking for? And it's all going to be contingent upon your specific desired results, because it's going to be different for everyone. So there's not across the board when it comes to what you should be eating, what you should be doing as far as exercises. It's all dependent on what your goal is. So what I'll do is I'm going to leave the floor to you. I don't want to interrupt you by any means. If I do talk, I will let you know. I will definitely ask questions and things like that, but I want to give that space and respect your space and not speak over you. So yes, you can hear today. All right, Elizabeth. Thank you, babe.
I'm watching it then. I saw her leaving. I saw her with a comment on Facebook.
Yes.
Hi.
Because the last time she could not hear, and that was because I think when I went live, I had the mute button. I clicked the mute button, something like that. I don't know.
Well, we're working out the kinks. Every week can get better and better.
You know how it is. And you know what? What I'm going to do, Brittany, is I'm going to go ahead and call it. So it's 6:45 right now. I say we jump off of Clubhouse because this is not being beneficial to us. There's no one here. I'm going to leave there quietly and in the room. That way we are only focused on one apparatus. You feel me? One is good.
My sound went out.
I can hear you.
Boys, calm down. Let me hold on 1 second. I'm gonna connect my AirPods over to.
Let me see. So while Brittany is getting prepared, guys, if you do have questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. And that way we can.
Let me try to come out of it and then click the link again so my AirPods can switch over.
Okay, cool.
Sorry, babe. I'm gonna go check on the boys real quick because they're getting into it.
Not a problem. So it's just me, but definitely ask questions. Drop your questions in the chat. So again, just to recap, I'm going to be discussing glucose, okay, and how that relates to fat loss, because it's a huge component that not many people are specialized in and talk about. And we wonder why we can't really get results when it comes to fat loss and reaching our goals. When we think I'm eating healthy and things like that, there's things that we have to respect about food and how our bodies process those foods uniquely. So I'm going to dive just a little bit, just enough in there to get your mind going and maybe provide you a bit of guidance in what direction you want to go, in order to remedy that, because that is a huge thing in, in the community of people who are just really seeking some type of result, some type of change. And it gets frustrating, guys. I'm with you. I've experienced it myself. And that's the reason why I'm so passionate about it, is because it's not that I have the absolute one way that you have to. No, no, no. Everything that I'm providing for you is technically anecdotal, which means that it's worked for me and it's worked for a number of my clients. Um, However, it's something you have to try for yourself to see how your body will respond to it. So that's what we want to do, is we want to dive a little bit into that. But before we do that, I wanted Brittany to be able to break down to you and try to help you to better understand what you should know in respect to programming, how to create your own program, so that, let's say you can't afford a personal trainer. I'm under, in my mind, you do not need, I don't think that anyone needs a personal trainer, unless you absolutely have to have it because you are going to kill yourself with with your weights or something like that. That would definitely mean you, okay, girl, you need to put that weight down. You need a trainer. You feel me? Um, but I feel like it's something that you should want, especially if you're getting started, so that you know what proper form is. Proper form will get you everywhere. And without proper form, you can really diminish the entire experience, number one. And because I've seen people try to lift weights and then they maybe injure themselves, and lo and behold, they can no longer work out. So you really need to know what you're doing and why you're doing it, why proper form is important, why lifting this high as opposed to this high is something that you need to pay attention to. All of those things matter. You need to be able to keep your mobility, yada, yada. So I could go on for days with that. But let me just double check before let me exit full screen. Again, if you're just joining, first of all, thank you. Thank you for tuning in. If you're just joining, definitely put your questions in the chat. I want to hear from you guys. I know that a lot of you have questions. I want to know what oh, okay, let me go back here. Let me put you here. Add you to the stream. There you go, Brittany. You're back. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly.
Awesome, babe. So, yeah, I was just inviting them again to ask questions and just kind of giving them an idea of what it is that we are going to be talking about. And I do see a couple of questions coming in. Ooh.
Yes,
So, Brittany, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you that space. I want to really be mindful and try not to interrupt you and leave that space for you. But once you finish a thought, if you could say, I'm done speaking, any questions, that way we know, you're ready. So I will leave it to you, sis. Let's
Okay,
get it.
sweet. So programming, and I got to go back to like my first program that I found. So a couple things that you want to be mindful of up front with programming a workout for yourself. Basically, a program is a guide for you, right? You want to know what you're going to do when you go to the gym. Nobody likes going to the gym looking stupid, and nobody likes that. Figuring out what they're going to do, where they're going to be. And I remember my first day at Planet Fitness. That was the first gym I went to. I went in there and I said, I guess I'm going to go to this little squat rack thing. And when you're overweight, I'm going to feel embarrassed. Everybody can lift. Don't be afraid of them weights. Everybody can lift. I bet you strong. I bet you real strong, Tracy. But I remember my first day in the gym, I went over to what I didn't know was the Smith machine, and I hit my head on the bar. I was so nervous and I was so flustered. I hit my head on the bar. I ain't leave. I loaded some weight on that thing and I got to squatting. Didn't know if my form was right. I just jumped in and went for it. But it's
Right.
really good to have an idea of what you're going to do before you go to the gym.
Hmm.
So, you can find a lot of things on Pinterest, you can find a lot of things on Instagram, but most of those things are going to be pretty generic and not tailored to your goals. So, first thing
Exactly.
you want to do is figure out your goals. What do you want to achieve? Do you want to burn fat? Do you want to build strength? Do you want to gain muscle, which is hypertrophy? Figure out what specific goals you have, right? Then think about the days that you can work out. How many days can you realistically and consistently work out? Just be honest with yourself. If that's starting out just 2 days a week, Saturday and Sunday, because you got two jobs, you got kids, whatever, okay, start there. If that's 3 days a week, you can work with that. If that's 4 days a week, that's excellent. So, how many days a week is going to really play a big role in what you can accomplish in that time, right? And don't jump in thinking that I'm just taking notes for myself because I'm gonna put together a little really cool infographic for you guys this week. But don't jump in thinking that you have to train 5 days a week and you have to be in the gym for 2 hours. No, you can get it. I trained legs the other day in 36 minutes and it was amazing. So set an expectation for yourself. If you only have 45 minutes because the gym is 20 minutes away, that's fine. You can get plenty done. So just make sure you're realistic with your goals, you're realistic with the days a week you can go, and the times that you can be at the gym and not feel pressed like you got to be somewhere else. Because when you're at the gym, you want to be present, you want to be mindful, and you want to really focus on what you're doing. Because when you're not focused, when you're distracted, that's going to lead to injury. That's just period. So yes, once you got your goals, once you got days of the week, um, another note on days a week, you want to try to be a little consistent and try to stick to the same time every day. If not, that doesn't mean you can't. It's totally fine. Sometimes I'll work out at night, sometimes I'll work out in the morning. It's just wherever I can put it. But try to get into a little bit of a routine. Once you develop a routine, after a few weeks, it'll start to get a lot easier to go. You won't really have to think about it. If you're going to the gym every day at 10 a.m., then 9:35, you're already putting on your socks and shoes before you even think about where you're actually going. So you want to get in a routine because that'll make it a little bit easier for you. And it'll kind of let your body know, hey, we're about to do this, let's go. So once you have that down, um, once you again, what you do depends on how many days a week. So I'll kind of give an example. So let's say you have 3 days, right? I got 3 days a week. I got Monday, I got Wednesday, I can do Friday. That's the only days of the week that I can train. So you really want to be strategic. So if you can only train 3 days a week and your goal is to let's drop this body fat percentage. We want to get summertime fine. We're trying to get that waist snatch, got to get that body fat percentage down low. So number one, don't think that you just have to be on the treadmill for 3 hours every 3 days a week, because that's no. You want to incorporate weight training, especially for my ladies. Weight training and strength training is so amazing for what it does for our bodies. You're not going to bulk up like a man because you don't have high levels of testosterone. You're going to fill out. You're going to get those curves. That booty's going to sit up tall. Them thighs going to look real nice. Okay. Them arms going to look real slim. That back. Okay, hun. That's what we want. We want to fill out. We want those curves. So for someone who can only train 3 days a week, what I would suggest is 3 full body days. I'll give you two suggestions, right? So you can do 3 full body days. So what that means is every day you're working, every day you go to the gym, that Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you're working your biggest muscle groups. You're working a little bit of upper body, you're working a little bit of lower body, you're getting that core and stabilizer muscles in, and you're doing cardio in between to make sure that you're working that muscular and cardio endurance, right? Which is super important. Cardio doesn't have to encompass the entirety of your workout, but it's very important to be a part of it because your cardiovascular system, like, you can't do nothing without that. You just can't. So running with that scenario, if you have 3 days a week, I would focus on big muscle groups. So squats work over 200 muscles in your legs. Get them squats in there, get them lunges in there. That's for the butt, that's for the hamstring, that's for the quads, that's for that side booty. Everybody want them hips, that's for that. Upper body stuff, I mean, you're going to want to work on, every woman should know how to do a push up just to get it done. If you're doing the knees first, that's fine. So you got your squat, you got your lunge, you got your push up, or if you want to start with wall push ups, that's fine. Do them on the wall. So those get too easy. Then knee push ups, till those get too easy. Full push ups, right? So you always want to have I should have led with this, but 6 functional movements in every program, right? So we already said 3 of them: squat, lunge, push. Pull could be anything from like a dumbbell kind of row situation, or if you're at a gym that has any kind of like TRX straps, you can pull with those TRX straps as well, right? So we got push, pull, squat, lunge. Next up is a hinge movement. So hinge is anything where you're bending at the waist. So think about when you're going to pick something up from the floor, right? So we're hinging at the waist, come and pick something up. Or when we're trying to be cute for our little boyfriend, our little girlfriend, you want to poke that booty out, you picking up something real sexy, that's hinge. So you always want to make sure you have that in your program. And lastly is rotation, which is anything where you're rotating at your core. So rotating your shoulder, like let's say you see somebody cute behind you, you rotating to go check that booty out because they probably got a butt too because they already cute, right? So rotation is going to be really important to strengthen your core and your stabilizer muscles. So when I say core, I mean your abs, I mean your obliques, that includes your butt, that includes your back. All of that's got to be strong so that we can lift this weight, right? So for what a day looks like, you know, you don't have to hit all 6 of those movements every day, but if you want to improve on those basic movements, then yeah, you want to do them more often. Now, if you can dedicate 4 days a week to the gym, that means you can break those 6 functional movements down a little bit more. I would suggest with 4 days a week, you can do 2 upper body focus days, 2 lower body focus days. And you always want to stagger them. That way you're giving your body time to rest and recover in between. Rest and recovery are more important than I mean, it's more important than anything. Rest includes sleep, recovery includes sleep and nutrition and hydration. Once you have all those things in check, the gains are going to come, or the losses if that's what you want to do. So yes, if you have 4 days a week, which is where I started when I first started strength training, it was a super simple 12-week program that I found. It was 2 upper body, 2 lower body days. It was like 5 movements. Um, I was doing like 3 sets of each movement. It was just basic like bench press, lat pull downs. It was super, super simple, squats, lunges. So, yes, and it had like 3 or 4 ab movements at the bottom. You know, you got to warm up, maybe get a little bit of mobility exercises in there, which get your body ready to kind of work out. And then you got to cool down, stretch at the end. Don't skip the warm up. Don't skip the stretch. I don't care how much time you got. I don't care how short on time you are. I don't care if somebody checking you out, you feel creeped out, you want to leave the gym. Nope. Find you a corner, go to the bathroom or the locker room, stretch. Super, super important for your muscles. For someone who has 5 days a week to dedicate to the gym, you can get even more strategic with your workout split, right? With how you program. So you can have like an upper body push day, which pushes you pushing anything away from your body. You can have a lower body day. You can have an upper body pull day, which is you pushing anything to your body, towards your body. I am so sorry, y'all. We did just got excited. Honey, can you shut that door, please? Thank you. So after your upper body pull, your lower body, your upper body push, then you can have another leg day, and then you can have a full body day in the end, or like a freestyle kind of cardio session. So the more days you have to dedicate to exercise, the more time you have, the more specific you can get with what you're working. You know, some people have like chest tries or back and bis, you know, quad focused legs, hamstring focused legs, but it all kind of breaks down to how much time you can realistically dedicate. If that's 3 days, you can get an amazing workout in 3 days a week. You know, more so than working out is what you do outside of that workout window, because that's when your body's going to develop. Your body does not develop in the gym, and it's really, really important that you guys understand that, because if you feel like, or if you believe that your body develops inside the gym, then you're going to want to be in the gym 3-4 hours a day, and you don't need that. It's too much. You're welcome, Tracy. If you have any questions, just let me know. So your body develops outside the gym. So yes, do what you can, be as focused as you can in the gym, um, but also pay attention to what you're doing outside of that hour. Because you could have a really good hour, but if you're messing up that other 23, then it's a wrap. It's done. You're wasting your time. So just be mindful of what you're eating, anything you put in your face, whether it's food or whether it's something to drink. You want to be mindful of that. You want to make sure you try to keep your stress level manageable. You want to make sure you're sleeping. You want to make sure you're hydrating. I mean, and I'm gonna say nutrition again because they're super important. Other than that, when you're in the gym, three things you want to do, three things you want to be mindful of. Your mind to muscle connection, which is basically you focusing on whatever muscle you're working. So, for example, I just love squats. That's just like my favorite thing. So, if you're squatting, you want to focus on your leg muscles. You want to focus on contracting your core, making sure you're stable, making sure your back is straight, making sure when you come down, your feet are not going past your toes, making sure you're squeezing your glutes on the way up. You want to be very focused on the muscles you're working. So if you're working a smaller group like your biceps, you want to be focused on that bicep. And if you have somebody going to the gym with you, if you have a gym buddy, have them lightly put their finger on whatever muscle group you're working. Like I often will put my hands on my client's back when I'm like, bring your shoulder blades together. We're working your lat muscles. And I'll be like, I'll put my hands there lightly so that that makes their mind more connected to that muscle. That's going to help you get those results faster. Thing number two, form is key. I don't care how much weight you moving. If your form ain't right, it's a wrap. You're going to hurt yourself, period. Like I pulled a back muscle lifting too much weight. It happens to all of us. And that was just a few weeks ago. It happens to all of us, but make sure your form is right. Um, three, what is it? Mind to muscle connection, form. I forget the third one. It's gonna come to me though. Anyway, form. What is it? Is there modified version of squat? If you have bad knees, I have bad knees, and I still squat. So with my knees, I think I have a little bit of tendonitis. I don't know that's what if that's what you have. But what I do before my squats, I have specific exercises to get my knees ready to bend, and that's what you want to do. So making sure you're warming up properly and enough. Some people need longer time to warm up than others, so be mindful of that. Making sure you're doing mobility exercises. So that's like back stretches, that's like straight leg kicks. What else do I have my clients do? Hip openers. Um, Sometimes with your knees, a lot of it could be other muscle groups too. Sometimes it could be your back. If you're coming down in your squat wrong and if your form is not right, you're going to put more pressure on your knees or more pressure on your back. And that could be why your knees are feeling a little bit of pain. So, yes, make sure you're warming up, make sure you're doing your mobility. Um, you can also try box squats are really good for knees or sumo squats. So box squats, you're having something behind you, like a bench or a platform, something, right? And when you're coming down into that squat position, you're tapping that bench with your butt and then standing up. So what that does, it allows you to sit back more like you're sitting in a chair and it takes a little bit of the pressure off your knees. So I would say try that. Um, Try a little bit of mobility exercises before you're doing squats. That'll help get your knees ready and do box squats. Body weight first. If you feel good with the body weight, then add somebody had an accident out there. I know it. I just heard something. Anyway, um, warm up, mobility, light stretches with the band, and then box squats. Body weight first. If you're feeling good with the body weight, add some weight.
Now, Tracy, I did want to make sure that we fully answer your question. So let us know what specific issue you're having. Is it an impingement? Do you feel pain when you squat? We just kind of need to know more to give you some additional instruction if we can.
Yeah, there's a lot to it. I have a knee brace too. I actually have 3 or 4 knee braces. Depending on what I'm doing, I'll switch it up. So make sure you're being safe. And it's a little bit normal to feel some sort of pressure in your knees when you squat because you're carrying a load on your back. Like, it's a challenging movement to successfully perform, especially when you're doing reps, sets, different variations, things like that. So I wish I could see you squat right now so I can I can make adjustments if I need
Right.
to.
And I'm thinking it would probably be good if we follow up with a session, like a one-on-one Zoom session, to where we can just get some people together and really check form, because it's huge, guys. This is the one
Or
of the most
demonstrate
important
form.
things to do.
Yes, yes, that's
Okay,
actually
so
a really fantastic
so
idea.
hold on here. Let's see. And then
Mhm.
also, I don't know if you do it, but especially whenever I would lift heavy at the gym, I would always have a knee sleeve for protection,
Mhm.
and to warm up those joints. So here's some more information
Wait
from
for me
Tracy.
for a second. Do you sit, Tracy? Do you sit down a lot, like for work? I'm asking that because you said lower back after moving for too long. And when you say moving for too long, tell me a little bit more about that. And I'm still trying to think of that third thing. Mindful muscle connection, for one. That third thing is going to come to me too.
She said yes.
She's okay. That's it then. So um, tomorrow, tomorrow's Monday. I want you to stand every hour for a few minutes. So what happens is when we're sitting in that seated position for too long, your back muscles are tight when you're sitting. They're flexed. They're tight, 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 tight. So when you stand, you're going to feel a little bit in that low back because your muscles are finally getting a chance to stretch out. So when they're tight for too long, they're just bun. It almost feels like a Charlie horse. So you want to make sure you're stretching your back. So I Google back stretches. Most of them are pretty good. Get your back stretches up in there, and that's probably shifting your weight to put more pressure on your knees. Like walking for too long, then my lower back starts to hurt. Yeah, your back muscles tight, babe. You gotta stretch them out. Stretch out that back. Yes, babe. Stretch out that back. Let me know how you feel after you do it too.
And if I could add to that,
Mhm.
additionally, what happens is if we are not doing anything strength related with our back, then those muscles are probably very weak. So you also
Mhm.
have to think of that. If they're, when you have muscles that lie dormant and you don't work them very often, absolutely, they're gonna remind you that they're there. So
Mhm.
strengthening them is key. Some core exercises will also help that in addition.
Yes, a lot of the time, the key to a weak back is weak abs. So working your core in general. Remember we said that includes the abs, obliques, back, and the booty. You got to strengthen all that up. So you definitely want to make sure you're warming up properly. And a lot of that, can vary just depending on specifics. Sometimes it just takes somebody to think outside the box and put it in a different perspective for you. So definitely try some of those tips, and that should help. Yes, and we can definitely, you know, I don't know if Zoom does group sessions. I think you might have to pay for them because sometimes they switch it up because I try to do Zoom with my clients.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, we can try that. I think it has to be less than like 5 people or maybe less than 14. I don't know what the number is, but it has to be below a
No, I
specific.
have the professional
Oh, you do?
subscription. So, well, at least I do. So we could use mine if we needed to. But yeah, we
Okay.
can have several. We can have a whole slew of people.
Okay, sweet. So we can definitely put something like that together,
Yeah,
and we can go through, those 6 functional movements. I held up 5 fingers. Those 6 functional movements, and demonstrate that and give you guys tips, so you can feel more comfortable doing that. And then we'll see you guys demo it, and then like spotlight different people. So while we're correcting, we can kind of other people can see that. Yeah, that's an absolutely fantastic idea. Um, and I can't think of that third thing. But anyways, those are the
I
most
hate
the
that.
most
I hate
important.
that.
Gosh, it's gonna come right when we end. It's gonna be like, here's what.
Like,
Um,
duh. Yeah.
yeah, there's other tips too. You want to make sure you're safe. You want to make sure you're paying attention to what you're doing. Don't try to follow the stupid stuff that people try to do in the gym. I
Please,
saw
God,
this man
don't.
grab a
Please,
pole and
God,
turn
don't.
himself upside down, and I was like, no, you. No, no. Um, but yes, what was I saying? So yeah, I would say start off, work with what you can, do what you know. Um, if you're looking to purchase a program, make sure it's from somebody that's certified, because there's a lot of people that's posting information on stuff that has worked for them, and that's fantastic. But if they're not certified, like a certified personal trainer, do not purchase that program, because they're not qualified to put out that information. Um, yeah, if there it says fitness coach and you don't see no ISSA, ACE, NASM, and you can kind of Google the certification spots just so
Yeah.
you can know what to look for, then they're not. That's just like
It's
getting
not
diet
legit.
advice from somebody who's not a dietitian or a nutritionist.
Yeah. And which at the same time, to each his own. I know people who are not necessarily certified, but you run the risk of potential injury or just for, just someone not really providing care to you the way that
Right.
we're trained. And we also have insurance. We are, we have our certification, but we also are insured. So just keep those things in mind. That's a good point.
Yeah, so those are
Now,
some of the basics with programming. Once I put together the infographic, I'll be able to flesh it out a little bit more, and give a few examples. That way, you guys can kind of know how to put together, whip up something real quick for yourself. Um, yeah.
now I did want to kind of go back to Tracy originally. Your question, let me go back here. So originally you talked about being overweight and embarrassed in the gym. I want you to kind of expound on that just a bit because I know very well. I remember how I felt when I was going to the gym, and I was literally going to the gym for my lunch break um, all the time. But what I would do, I would recommend that even in your embarrassment, find a way to seek out help. Ask questions. Go to the front desk and ask ask to speak to a trainer. They can give you free information. You don't have to purchase something to get just some basic guidance on how to use some of the Smith machines, especially. If you are trying to lift any weight that's a little heavier than you normally would, like once you start
Open
growing and things
spots.
like that, ask questions. That's the best way to get over that embarrassment because guess what? Everyone has a day one. Everyone has a
Oh
starting
yes.
point. Not
Yes.
everyone showed up to the gym all
Mm-hmm.
buff and beautiful. Trust me on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So just know that there's other people there just like you, and you have to start somewhere. Leave that
Yeah.
embarrassment at the door because guess what? That's going to prevent you from getting the results that you deserve. And if
Mm-hmm.
you drove all the way there, you better go get that workout.
Yeah, you better go in that door. Don't
You
play.
better.
Go in that
Come on.
door. And a lot of it is, be prepared. Know what you're gonna do before you get there. Put a cute ass outfit on. Okay, look fly, look good. Because when you look good, you feel
Confidence.
good. Three,
Confidence.
put together a
Mhm.
banging playlist. I mean, something you're gonna crank all the way up. When that music
Drake,
gets
baby.
high, you're gonna drop that squat. Okay, you're gonna drop it. And just know that nobody's really looking at you. They
Yeah.
worrying about their own stuff. They not trying to drop no weight and look stupid. You know what I'm saying? So you oh, that was the Zoom session one. So yeah, I mean, tell if you feel comfortable, Tracy, tell us a little bit more on specifically what makes you feel embarrassed or uncomfortable.
There you go.
Anybody looking at you? And trust me, anybody looking at you, if it is, it's a sideways glance, like, "Ooh, she cute," and then boop, and then they're
That's
gone.
just yes, that's your own insecurity, and you got to sometimes put that in check and tap into your why. Go back to your reason why and say, screw all the people who are looking at me. I don't even care if somebody is videoing me. You know how they put those cruel videos of people on
Yes,
on the
sometimes
internet and
horrible.
stuff like that. I get it. Those things make you anxiety.
Find a
Um,
corner too. Find a
but
little corner.
find
There's
a
always a
spot that's gonna
corner
make you
that ain't
comfortable.
nobody at.
Yeah.
Spread out.
Many times they have like these
Studios.
areas that are specific to women. where it's just women in there working out. And that might make you feel a little more comfortable until you're ready to go out to the bigger floor. I
Mhm.
applaud that. You know what I mean? You have to do what's
Mhm.
comfortable for you, but don't allow it to cripple you to a point where you're not going to do it.
Mhm.
That's
And
not, it's not worth
if
it.
it's a new exercise, try it at home first. Try it at home. Get comfortable with it, and then go to the gym. Because then you're gonna roll up in there like you a boss. Like, wow, I know how to do this. Mm, going to Zumba sometimes. I was pushing in the class. Well, how you think they got small? They had to start. They,
Exactly.
they had to
I
start. I'm like,
remember.
do a little Zumba
Yeah,
thing. I
girl.
want to do Zumba. Get
Yeah,
just let all that go and just focus on being healthy because you're doing so much more than a lot of people who ain't even think about the gym, who just picking up a big bag of Cheetos Puffs. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
You're doing a lot better than them. And the fact that you're trying, the fact that you want to know more says a lot, says a whole
it
lot.
does.
So just think
It
about
does.
that and just don't worry about that other stuff. You're going to be fine. You're going to be just fine.
You got this, girl. Y'all, both of you guys, and thank you guys for being so transparent
Yeah.
and sharing. I know that's definitely not an easy thing. So I want to say on
Mm-mm.
this here, I see all the skinny fit people in Zumba class, and I'm over here modifying movements. Listen, you have to do what you have to do for where you are right now. Respect the
Right.
fact that you are where you are, and don't let that diminish how you feel about what it is that you're doing. What you're doing is just as beneficial. If you can't do a full squat, you have to modify. It's either that or just stand there, right? And you don't want to stand there. You want to progressively start to get better. And when your body fat percentage starts to decrease, your muscles starts to increase, and you start to get stronger, guess what? Squats that are going to be nothing to you. They're going to be nothing. You're going to pop into a squat like nobody's business. Okay. But you have to trust the process. You have to keep going. And like exactly what Brittany said, just focus on you. Focus
Elizabeth,
on you.
I'm gonna give you some homework, so I hope you got something to write with. For a week before you go to sleep or in the morning, whichever you prefer, I want you to write down 3 things you're grateful for, and then actually do that. Try to do that towards the night. In the morning when you wake up, I want you to talk to yourself positively, positive self-talk. I am beautiful. I'm
Yeah.
strong. My skin is popping today. Any
Come
little
on.
things like that. Ooh,
Come on.
eyebrows. Yes, yes. Look at these lashes. Oh my goodness. Wow. Positive self-talk. You'll be surprised at how good that's going to make you feel. So let's
Yeah.
work on boosting your own confidence. Be your own hype man. Be your own
Yeah.
hype man. Sometimes I'll go put my little tiny booty in my wife's face and be like, look at this butt. Don't it look good? Yes, it does. I don't need you to tell me that. I already know. You know what I'm saying? So work on that. Oh yes, absolutely. Homework. Don't forget about your homework, girl. 3 things you're grateful for at night, and then say 3 more things for that positive self-talk in the morning. I want y'all to do that. It's gonna help tremendously.
Good. Stay inspired, babe. Stay inspired. We
We
love
love
it.
you.
And you know what? That's why this is so important. So definitely share with your people. Um, I realize that there's not enough encouragement around this topic. And you guys have clearly shown that we still have a lot of work to do with trying to
Definitely.
help people to feel more comfortable in the gym, help them feel more comfortable when they're working out, period. Because that is the very thing. If I wasn't strong enough, I would have given up when I would cramp up and couldn't do a squat, or I couldn't get through one song when I was doing Zumba. If I had stopped there, I wouldn't be where I am today. So now I live
Facts.
to tell the story, but I didn't let that overwhelm me to the point of inaction. I said, you know what? It is what it is. I'm going to keep going until it freaking goes away. So I'm going to keep squatting until I can do a perfect squat. And honestly, no one can do a perfect squat. We all have some type of, you know what I'm saying, inadequacies. But
And squat looks different for everyone
literally,
anyway.
right? It's like we all have something. So don't think that we're all out here in these streets being perfect, because
Oh,
no, even the
no.
most polished person has something that they really need to work on. We all have opportunities. but we all have to deal with what it is that we have and be grateful. So I want you to go back to what Brittany just said. Pick those 3 things that you're grateful for. That will expose so many things and just help you to really see what really matters. What really matters. Focus on what matters. Good stuff. Good stuff, y'all. Mm, mm.
Yes, it's
And
amazing.
Brittany, I had the time wrong. Originally, I had said 7, but I meant 7:30 because we wanted to do an hour.
Yes, that's fine. Yes, yes,
Yeah. Okay.
yes. So
Very
jump
good.
into the glycemic index and gut health because I'm ready to take some notes. Let's get into it.
Yes.
I want
Okay.
to hear all about it.
Here we go. Let's see. So I just want to show your question, your statements here. Thank you so much.
I'm like a
Um,
sponge. I love learning. I'm trying to be a sponge too.
right? Me too. I We get to learn from you guys as well. So that's
Hmm.
the blessing in all of this. It comes back. It's reciprocal. Um, I'm being told that I'm pre-diabetic and this is my why. I'm slow on this journey, but willing to learn. And that's what it takes. You have to be willing to learn and be open. So thank you for that.
And there's so many resources out there. There's not these special unicorns that have this knowledge on how to be fit and not willing to share. I mean,
Yeah.
we're sharing it. There's tons of people out there who are doing the same. Just, be mindful of who you're seeking guidance from. Only let specific people in
Yeah.
to your space
Yeah.
and into your mental. But yes, there's resources out there. Don't feel like you have to pay for a lot of things. Going back to what Lolo said about the gym, at my gym, we do an onboarding session for everyone. We talk about their goals. We help them set them. We take them through a movement assessment. There's probably other gyms that do the same thing, and most of the
Yeah.
time, you'll get a free personal training session just for signing up. Pick their brain, ask them questions, put them to the
Mm-hmm.
test.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and if you can, get a little bit from that budget to meet with the personal trainer. Don't feel like you got to meet with them. Don't feel like you got to meet with them 75 days out of the month. No, it could be
Yeah.
one day a week or one day a month, and you can just check in with them. Um, Blood pressure. That's what Elizabeth said.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually transition. And Brittany, first of all, thank you for sharing that knowledge. You broke it down, which is what I love because it's so hard for people to just grasp. Oh, just I hate when we have that natural inclination to say just do this. Just nothing is just.
Yeah.
You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? Nothing is just. Everything is relative. So, you can tell somebody do this, but somebody's going to interpret that in a very different way. So, breaking it down the way that you did was spot on, babe. Thank you so much for
Awesome. And,
doing
and
that.
I'll have more details. I'll have more details on that too. And
Awesome.
I'll make sure all of you guys get your hands on that infographic as well.
Yes. Thank you. So let me transition really quick into speaking about glucose and how it is related to fat loss or fat gain retention. So, one thing that I want you to know, I'm going to make this statement, and this is not my opinion. This is based on facts and science. But obesity, one of the most dealt with or experienced diseases, really, that we could ever experience right now, and especially even more prevalent in 2021. We thought that we were getting better, and we're not. And what I specialize in is I talk to every one of my clients about nutrition. I don't take clients unless they are willing to take the education first about nutrition and why it's important and even what that means.
Right.
So the one thing that has become very clear to me is the fact that obesity is caused a lot of times because we don't know any better. We've picked up all of these Western world practices, the fast food chains. Just look out your window and
The
see
meat
how
on
many
top
fast
of
food
meat on
chains
top of meat
are
on top of meat.
exactly. How many are there? Tons. There's something on every single corner, and they're all in bulks. Okay. Nobody needs that much food. So I'm going to tell you that right now. So we've gotten accustomed to always eating all the time to where we only have food on the brain. And so my hope is that after today, you start thinking a little less about food and just more so like food is delicious. Don't get me wrong. I'm not even tripping. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you I don't love no food. Okay. Let's be real. Let's be honest. I do love food, but I don't love it to the point of obsession. I did, but I no longer love it to the point of obsession. If you are a person who thinks about your next meal before you even finish the meal that's on your plate, you are obsessed.
Mhm. Yeah, slow that down.
You are obsessed. And it is an addiction. If you constantly crave sugar and, sweet things, it's an addiction. It's no different than being addicted to crack cocaine. That's just what it is. Okay. But when we talk about obesity, obesity leads to inflammation. Inflammation leads to obesity. It's cyclical. Okay. So if you really think about what's going on in your body, think how much inflammation do I have? How mobile am I? How much pain do I experience on a daily basis? So just start thinking about those things. And then when you come to that realization, you know what? I'm always almost always in pain. I have these different things that I can't do because I'm limited. It all stems back to what we're fueling our body. If we stop feeding the inflammation is being fed by a lot of high processed and refined sugars, okay, and starches and things like that that go into the body, and the body actually eats all of that up. And then once it gets to a point where it needs to distribute all of the whatever nutrients you provided it into your cell walls, it's like, what is this? What the heck? What is this? Okay, we just gonna put this over here and we gonna put this over here, and I guess this is what we get. So think about what you're feeding. If you're feeding inflammation, then you're always going to have that inflammation. So now you need to retract and start to think, okay, what it boils down to is glucose. Everything that we eat turns into glucose or sugar, essentially. Okay. Now, it doesn't matter really where that food comes from, it's still going to be in some way, shape, or form turned into glucose. When that glucose goes through your bloodstream, it should trigger insulin in a way that tells insulin, okay, we need you to do all of these other things in the body and store whatever is remaining into the liver for later use for energy. What happens is we don't recall anyone ever telling us, and I don't think anyone ever told me this growing up, but that your body is going to respond to it with either a spike in insulin or a steady increase in insulin that stays steady. It might increase just a little bit, but it goes right back down to baseline. If that does not happen, then our body does not metabolize the way that it should. So it'll trigger that insulin, and insulin is a fat storage hormone. Not always, but for the most part, it's storing whatever energy you are providing it into the liver. It turns it into glycogen for later use. So think about it like this. If you are someone who works out, let's take a triathlon. I'm going to use that because that's an extreme of this scenario. If you take someone who is in a triathlon, they're always training, always burning and expending energy, right? So they have to be on a very high caloric diet. Why? Because they need the energy to support the output. If you are someone who is not a triathlon, but you eat in a high calorie surplus, meaning far more than you need, then your body is just triggering number one, glucose spikes. So every time you eat, it spikes, it spikes. And the longer it spikes or stays high, you're storing every single thing in your liver and in your fat stores. And you never get to a point to where you can actually burn that for fuel because you're always overfilling it. It's like if I were to take This gum, in every couple of hours, I'm just putting it in there, but I'm not chewing any of it. Just like that, just like that. Fat, fat. That's what we're doing. And so that's the reason why we're like, why can't I lose fat? And in different scenarios change what you should be doing with your diet. Also, your goal, your end goal. So someone once upon a time told me, "Oh, you need to be eating 6 meals a day," and definitely chime in on this, Brittany, because I'm sure that you've been exposed to that as well. I don't know what it is that you do, but I don't feel like it is the right thing to do to just tell everyone you should be. If you don't know anything about those people, you should be eating 6 meals a day. There is no blanket meal plan designed for everyone. It all depends on, number one, how your body processes food and what your end goal is.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So if you're not trying to burn fat, you just want to maintain, then your diet, and I hate to say diet, but your food protocol, your eating protocol is going to look very different than anyone else's. The same with yours. If you're trying to just simply drop fat or change your body composition, then what you eat changes. Okay. How much you eat, how often you eat changes. I'm a huge proponent on intermittent fasting. I've been an intermittent faster since I started losing weight way back when, because that helps me to control not only my urges, but it controls my glucose. The longer you stay in a fasted state, your glucose stays level. And it took me a long time to get it to where it is so level that it's almost scary. Um, but going back to what I was saying, and I want to make sure that I don't have any questions. Okay. Yeah. So these are all things that matter. So every single time you eat food, you have to think, what am I doing with this? So with regard to fat loss and glucose, if you're able to get to a point where your glucose level stays as steady as possible consistently for at least 3 months, you'll start to see a change, but not before then. And see, many of us give up before we even get to that place. When we start eating well, we're like, I keep eating good, but nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. Your body is designed to stay or remain in a state of homeostasis. It does not want to change. It does not. You have to really shock the body in order for it to change. But you do want to have that consistency, especially when you're making any type of a change like this. Okay. I also provide for my clients a list, and you can go out there and you can seek out your own list. It's not proprietary to me, but it's a glycemic index list. Okay. That um, glycemic index list is going to tell you on a scale from 0 to 100 what the glycemic index of each food is. So, for instance, if I can recall, if you take some asparagus, like a serving size, these are broken down by serving sizes. So, a serving of asparagus, let's say a cup of asparagus, is about 15 on the glycemic index. Is that good? Hell yeah, it is. Jelly beans is 98. Is that good? Absolutely not. So think about what it is that you eat. Take that list. I always say, take that list and be honest with yourself and say, you know what? Have I been eating all these foods that are above like the 50, range? That means that your blood sugar is going to spike significantly the higher it is. And that doesn't mean it's for everyone. Some people handle different starches, and especially when it comes to like for instance potatoes. I tell everybody all the time, I love purple potatoes, but they're purple sweet potatoes. I absolutely live for them. But guess what? When I check my blood sugar after 2 hours after eating them, my body says, girl, who are you right now? You better back up off the purple sweet potatoes. I can't have them as often as I might like to. So I abstain from them and I have them when I want to have a little bit of a treat. And it's only in moderate proportions. You know what I mean? I'm focused on how much of it I'm consuming. Because I know that, I have to follow suit with everything else. So I've literally checked my blood sugar with every food on that list. And I know what impact it's going to have on my body. So that's why I can speak this language because I get it. And I also now get that it doesn't matter if you're diabetic, pre-diabetic, if you're not diabetic, you have a glucose, a insulin response when you do eat food and it is converted to glucose. Even meat, let's say animal products. Animal products also get converted into glucose, maybe not as much as maybe bread or something like that, but it all has an insulin response due to the glucose that gets into your bloodstream. The last point that I want to make, and please definitely put any questions that you have that, in order to further understand this topic, because it's huge and it's way deeper than even I can provide for you. But based on personal experience, I was able to literally change my life. And so that's why I try to help other people with this concept. But when it comes to cancers and things like that, a lot of people don't really understand that cancer is fed off of sugar. Okay. And it doesn't even matter anything that's transferred or converted into glucose, that's basically sugar, right? It's basically sugar. Now, your body you should be able to use that glucose for energy. Glucose is not bad, so I don't want to give you guys that idea that glucose is bad. But how much of it goes into your body, how much of it goes into your bloodstream matters. The longer you have an increase of glucose in your bloodstream, the longer, the more, what am I trying to say? You have the more there's an increased tendency for you to develop different types of cancers. It's like you're feeding that, going back to that whole inflammation and things like that. You're feeding those things that are not good for your body. Inflammation is just your body's response to what it is that you're putting in your system, and it's protecting itself. It's your body trying to protect itself. So until you remedy that and no longer feed the inflammation, you're always going to have it. You have to counteract that though.
And I think that goes for more diseases and cancer too. Like what you're eating has a heavy dependency on like diseases like cardiovascular disease, diabetes. Just it's not just cancer that you should watch out for, but your body comes into contact with all these different toxins and bad things all the time. But you want to be feeding your body the right things. That way, your immune system can do what it's supposed to do to help fight that off. That's what you want to do. So don't just you don't have to take it as extreme as that, but you want to be healthy. Like if you're someone who gets sick a lot, you probably need to eat some more veggies. Maybe you won't get sick as much because you're putting all these hard to process foods into your body, and your body doesn't really know what to do with it. So yes, it's storing it, all of that, and you're also carrying that around. You're carrying around these toxins. Your body's not flushing it out the way it's supposed to. So it's really important for you to pay attention to what you put in so that the bad stuff can go out. So good stuff in, bad stuff out.
So what I generally offer to my clients is we go through this foundation of nutrition. And the goal is for you to adopt more nutritious, high density nutrition versus high calorie nutrition. So what that means is, like, say for instance, if you were to take 4 teaspoons or tablespoons of just cooking oil, let's say canola oil, you're for that amount of oil, you can have an entire plate of vegetables. So just think about that. Think about that. Would you rather have just this bit of oil as opposed to nutritious vegetables that is higher in volume? It's going to fill you more than a bit of oil. Okay.
Correct.
And then when it comes down to it, I also talk about balancing the macronutrients. every single meal, you should aim for a guys, hello. My children are home from out of town and they're just in there just wrecking shop.
I couldn't hear anything.
Okay, good. They're in there. I was
Keep
like, what are
going.
you doing?
So
What are you doing? So
balanced meals, balanced macros.
thank you. So as far as the balance, so protein, lean protein, complex carbohydrates, non-starchy carbohydrates as much as possible, and a healthy fat. As long as your meals are comprised of that, it's very difficult for your body to want more than that. And you do have to eventually get to a place where that becomes your baseline. Like every single meal, that's why I say aim for it, because you don't get it right all the time. If you aim for that, you'll find that you're less hungry all the time. You'll find that you crave less. But all three of those components provide your body the necessary nutrients in order to process all of that food, give your body what it needs on a cellular level, and to support the body and its energy expenditure. And that's another thing. You also want to match what it is you're eating to what it is that you're doing as far as activity. If you are a runner, someone who, you sweat a lot and you run for distances, yeah, you need a significant amount of complex carbohydrates in your diet. You may need more than someone who's a little more sedentary. If you are more sedentary, you probably shouldn't, lean towards more complex carbohydrates. Definitely increase all of the leafy greens as you want, because those are considered complex carbohydrates as well. And just make that your foundation. I always say I'm plant-based because every meal I'm getting vegetables, fruit, I'm getting all whole foods, beans, lentils, nuts. That's my foundation. Everything else that I kind of crave every now and then outside of that, I inject those when I feel like it because I can.
Right.
But my foundation is plant-based. I'm just not plant only. I still like meat. I eat seafood, all the good things. Okay. But I'm very mindful about how much and how often I'm eating. Burn those energy stores before you're just constantly in, that be a feeding state. Go fasted for a little bit. These are things you can try. These are things that by all means you do not have to do. Some of them sound scary. If you need more information about it, let me know. But for some of us, fasting is very beneficial, and it allows for you to deplete the sugar that actually gets stored into your liver. And without you doing that, your body cannot go into a state where it burns the fat for fuel. It
Can I ask
just
a
doesn't.
question?
Sure.
With intermittent fasting, do you think it's beneficial to have your eating window close to the morning time, so you're eating when you get up to break that fast while you're sleeping? Or do you think it's more beneficial to push that eating window back so you're more so fasting in the morning?
That's
Which
a
is
great
better,
question.
fasting in the morning or fasting at night?
That's a great question, and I'm glad you asked it. It depends on you. What works for you? So some people love to eat breakfast in the morning, and I eat breakfast any time of the day. I don't care.
Oh,
I love
yes.
eggs. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it really depends on you. If you're someone who does not eat late at night, like you don't have an issue with eating late at night, you cut it off, you're like maybe about 7 o'clock, then yeah, go ahead and eat earlier in the morning. You know what I'm saying? And stay in your fasted state longer. But it really just comes down to your personal preference. There's not one that's better than the other. As long as you're going that duration, it's in between 12 and 16 hours is ideal just to stay in a fasted state, just
Definitely.
normally. Now, if
Right.
you want to go a little more extreme, I every now and then when I feel like it, I'll go 4 days with just I'll drink bone broth. And my body shifts into this fat burn mode like nobody's business. So I
Ooh,
won't tell you
that's
guys
good.
how much I can drop in 4 days, but it is significant.
That's
But you know,
crazy.
you can have different windows. You can say one day I'm gonna fast just 24 hours. It allows for your body to do some cellular cleanup, and it resets the blood, your glucose. Your glucose level is gonna stay as steady as ever. It's gonna stay super steady. And so while you're in that phase, your body can do what it needs to do. Your insulin doesn't get triggered to tell your body to store anything for fat because there's nothing to store. So
Right.
yes, it's going to burn up everything in your liver, the glycogen, and then it's going to burn all of the fat. And that, I'm not saying all of it, but it's going to burn fat at that point. But great question. Going back to what you asked, anytime, as long as it's feasible and sustainable for you.
Okay.
Good stuff. All right. So what? Tried
Anybody have any
asparagus.
questions for the group?
Hold on. Let me see. I tried asparagus. Okay, you're probably not cooking it right, boo. If you don't
What do you
have,
say? They don't like it?
if you don't like it, you can switch to something else. There's
It
plenty.
took me 2 years to like asparagus.
I love asparagus, but see, and
Your
I'm
taste buds
really,
change every 7 years.
I,
They
yeah,
just
they
fall.
do. They totally do. But, and I didn't like these things either. Brussels sprouts. I didn't like anything. All of that I love now. But I found a way to prepare it to make me fall in love with it. I keep garlic. I keep bags of garlic.
Oh
So I
yes,
love
fresh garlic.
to fresh garlic, olive oil. I'm telling you, you
Little
just have
salt,
to
pepper. You don't need no
flavor it.
rice.
Flavor God has seasonings that are like amazing.
Um,
Find ways to flavor your food to make them delicious. They don't come delicious. My husband, he's like, I'll eat that as long as you can make it taste like I didn't just stick my head in a bush and start chewing.
mm-hmm.
And if
Yeah,
I
my
can do
wife is a
that for
real
him,
picky
he will
too.
eat it.
Yeah,
That's what I had to do with my
my wife is
asparagus.
too.
No, he still doesn't like asparagus, but he likes my Brussels sprouts. I do like balsamic vinaigrette, you know what I'm saying? And what do you call it? Oh, liquid aminos. I live by liquid aminos. It's
Mhm.
instead of soy sauce, I live by liquid aminos. So these are just things, these are suggestions, guys. I'm not going to belabor the point, but I hope that that drives home a point. Let me make sure I'm not missing any questions, guys. You guys are putting some good stuff in here. Wanted to learn more about fasting. Definitely, you know what? I'll reach out to you, Elizabeth. We have class tomorrow, so I could definitely sit and chat with you a little bit about that. I've here, let me put this here. I've been lurking. I was running my course Zoom. I'm putting personal people's business out here in these streets. Sorry. I have.
14-10 is a pretty good split. Gradually get it down to that
Oh, is that
16
what that
8.
was? I missed it.
Yeah,
Thank you. Let me
yeah.
go back.
That
Hold
was
on.
that was their intermittent fasting window, 14-10. That's not
Yeah,
bad. Make it
that's not
gradual
bad.
though.
Yeah,
It start with 15-9 and get it down
yeah.
to a 16-8. I mean, don't go anything drastic like a 20 and a 4. That's like ridiculous. That's like extreme sports. No.
Well,
But
I think it really. I'm not opposed to any way. It has to be what works for you, because
I feel like
your
that's
body,
super.
and depending on where you are, especially if you have a lot of fat on your body to lose, I'm not opposed to that. Me personally, I'm not
So
opposed to
what
that.
about though? Because my mind goes to the nutrients that your body needs. Um,
You still need to be getting your body. You can do that. You can absolutely do that. You just have to be very strategic about what it is that you're eating in that 4 hour window. Doing that for long stretches of time, probably not. Probably
yeah.
not. Eventually, you're going to need to change in order to get in the necessary nutrients because, and I've done that. I've done they call it actually the warrior diet. And I didn't like it because it's not sustainable for me, but it could be sustainable for someone. So that's why I say I don't knock it because I've seen it work for some people and some people can get in the necessary nutrients that way. You just have to be very strategic and know where you're getting, those nutrients from.
Wait, that next. I feel like that next comment said something too. The one after this one.
Oh, the
The
Life
app,
app.
right?
Yeah, all of
I
those are
never heard of
good.
that app.
They work. The Life app for intermittent fasting. It's pretty good. It's not going to make you do anything. It's just a tracker.
Hmm.
It's going to track you the number of hours, and it's kind of inspiring. I did it for a while, but I get bored real easy. Um,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I tracked it for a while using that, and it'll say you've been fasted 20 hours or you've been at fasted however long, and then it just gives you that motivation to keep pushing a little bit further and a little bit further. Very beneficial. You just want to be careful. You also want to make sure that if you are fasting, to get in electrolytes. The electrolytes is essential for your body to run. You need the salt, you need the potassium, magnesium, you need all of these things just for your body to function. And so if you're not doing that, do that absolutely 100%. Or you can get in a little bit of salt water that helps. But look into, I think online you can actually purchase, like on Amazon, you can purchase electrolytes drops. I have drops. Let me see if there's anything else. Sorry. Yes, I'll talk to you about that. Okay.
No
She
more
said, I
questions?
won't be doing that. Thanks. She said she won't be doing that. The, I think what you said, 20
For
and
20
4.
and 4.
Yeah,
16:8 is a good window.
I think
Um,
so. That's a
yeah.
great one. Where you're at right now is even good. But if you want to stretch yourself, just increase it by an hour every now and then and see how you feel. It's based on how you feel. Don't do anything that doesn't feel good.
And listen to your body. Your body will tell you when you're not doing something right.
Yeah,
That's what,
absolutely.
even with exercise, your body's going to tell you when you're not doing something right. You feel it. You just have to listen and adjust. It's all it is. It's all
100%.
trial and error. There's still some things that I'm trialing and erroring right
Yeah.
now. And, I'm probably like a level 7. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's still a few things that we all have to trial and error, and switch up every once in a while to kind of push us to where we want to go.
Yeah. It's complex. That's all I'll say. And that's the reason why, guys, we're doing this. Again, make sure that you invite your friends to have this conversation with us. Right now, we're trying to build up a following for this within Clubhouse. But I think that right now, where we are is there's a huge need. So we'll continue to go on to, Facebook. And once we get an opportunity to get on Instagram through StreamYard, we'll do that as well. But for now, on Fridays, Brittany and I are having the discussion, just kind of like the prequel to this conversation on Fridays at 6:30 on Instagram on her channel.
Six
Um,
thirty Central, 7:30
yeah,
Eastern.
6:30 Central, 7:30 Eastern. Yeah. So make sure you guys go and follow Brittany. Britt, what's your handle?
Be fit with underscore Brit, two T's at the end.
Yes. Make sure you go and follow her. That way you can see all the goodness. She's putting out goodness daily, y'all. And all the instruction. She's very instructional savvy. So she wants you to make sure that you're not going to injure yourself and that you're getting effective, safe workouts. So I love that about her. And she's just super encouraging. So I admire her,
Thank
and
you.
please go and follow. Please go and follow. Um, Other than that, if you guys have no more questions, we'll end it right here. I think this was a great session. We went over longer than we anticipated, but I think there was so much that we needed to unpack. These are
Yeah,
not
definitely.
easy to understand topics and conversations. And um, I want to know more. I want to know what you guys want more of.
Right.
Set us up for success for next week's talk. But we will continue to do this as long as we can. All
Right.
right.
Sounds good. Thank you guys
Brittany,
for
thank
tuning
you,
in.
babe.
Thank you.
Love
Yes,
ya.
love you guys.
Thank you guys for joining.
We'll
We
pick it up
appreciate it.
next week.
Yes. See y'all next week,
All
6:30.
right. Bye,
Bye.
folks.